To get started in creating my coloring sheet, I'm just going to open up Procreate and I'm going to choose the 8.5 by 11 project size because that's what size the coloring sheet is probably going to be. I'm just going to upload my reference photo. So I took this reference photo in my office because I wanted my coloring sheet to be art supplies and other cute things. So I'm just sizing that photo to be where I kind of want the scene to end up on the coloring page at the very end of this. And also, you can totally skip this up. You can overlay a grid on your phone in an app, but I just wanted to do it this way to make sure everything was consistent. So now I'm going to start a new layer and upload a grid that is also sized for 8.5 by 11. And this grid was created by my friend Lauren for creating on the iPad Pro, and I'll talk about the grid in just a second, but I wanted to screenshot this, could have saved it as a photo. Once again, it's up to you. And I've got that sent to my phone so that I can have the reference photo with the grid overlay to the left of me while I'm drawing. So now I'm just going to start a brand new layer, going to hide that photo but keep the grid there right above my project. And then I'm just going to use the pencil in the iPad, just the standard pencil that comes in Procreate, to begin sketching. So let's talk a little bit about why I like the grid method of sketching and drawing. This was something I learned back in high school art class that has stuck with me ever since, because I can't really just think of something in my head and draw it on paper, or really look at something and draw it that realistically. But having the grid really helped. How it works, and I'm sure you can figure it out, but just in case you're unfamiliar, the grid helps you to get things perfectly in proportion. So I've got an exact, replica of the reference photo with the grid to my left, and as long as I'm following the grid lines and where everything falls, I can copy it exactly in my larger Procreate project. So it mostly just helps me to make sure I'm getting my notebook, my paper, and some of the paints and everything where they need to be and sized correctly, because I did want it to look pretty real to the scene that I had in my office. And not everything has to be perfect, but it works out pretty darn well. I highly recommend picking up this pack of Procreate grids from my friend Lauren Eibach. She's got them on Etsy, and I've got a link to look at those below. But her bread and butter is definitely iPad lettering, and she does some really cool stuff. And she created these grids because she couldn't find any that she liked for the different size projects she's doing in Procreate. So the grid pack has several different sizes of grids, and they're really detailed and really awesome. So I can definitely see myself using these, not actually for lettering, but for doing more drawing projects like this and creating some more coloring sheets in the future. If anything, using the grids actually saved me time, because if I were to just try drawing this from the reference photo, it would have taken me, I guarantee you, twice as long, with guessing where I'm supposed to put this line, or resizing things, or erasing and redrawing. And the grid really takes the guesswork out of where something is supposed to go, what kind of size it's supposed to be in relation to the thing next to it, and it was just super easy to follow. It kind of feels like cheating a little bit, but since I learned it in art class, I don't really care. So switching gears, let's talk about why I'm even creating this coloring sheet, because I usually don't do projects like this and it doesn't have any lettering on it yet. It will in just a second. But I have another friend named Kristen, and she is a host of the How to Fail podcast. I'm sure you have heard of it if you have listened to my podcast. I was a guest on the How to Fail podcast last year, and Kristen has created this subscription mail service called Fail Mail, and it's so fun and cool. And she enlists different artists to create something for Fail Mail. So Fail Mail actually comes out every other month. This coloring sheet is going to be featured in the April Fail Mail. The link to purchase your April Fail Mail subscription is in the link below. You do not have to be on a recurring subscription. You can just sign up for each month that you want to. But what I think is really cool about Fail Mail is that it's kind of like a little hug that you get in the mail every other month, because it's aimed at small business owners, creative business owners, because we fail all the time. And it a lot of times feels like there aren't that many resources out there for people who are experiencing failure. And there should be more resources, because if you're experiencing failure, it means that you're trying something. It means that you're working hard to bring your little vision to life. And there should be more people out there talking about how to handle failure, how to deal with failure, how to push through, how to make the best of it, and how to keep going. And that's exactly what Kristen is doing with Fail Mail. So if you are a creative business owner who feels like it's just hard, because it is, and you want to have a little hug delivered to your door every other month, then you should definitely get on top of Fail Mail. And like I said, I've got the subscription link down below. Also, if you want to create something for Fail Mail, that would be cool too. So this was my idea for a coloring page. I wanted to do something out of the box. And a little side note, I'm using the brush pen now to trace over this for the final layer, for the inking layer. I wanted to do a brush pen because I like how the lines are kind of inconsistent, and I didn't want to do really perfect drawing. I wanted it to be kind of painterly and look really cool. And also you'll notice a little bit further on that I'm not really completing all of my lines all the way, and I'm leaving some little open spaces. And this was something that I saw an illustrator do in a class I took on Skillshare a while ago about just illustrating little cute things for children's books. That seems like a lifetime ago that I took that class. But one of the techniques they had for making something look really cute and painterly was to not connect your lines all the time. So you'll see that a little bit in this, and so if you're wondering why I'm doing that, that's the reason. But back to Fail Mail, I just wanted to give a little shout out to Kristen because she's working really hard to normalize the topic of failure. And I talk to her all the time, talk to her and Lauren both all the time. And we talk about the hard stuff and the not so fun stuff. And it does seem like failure happens more often than successes happen. But I think as long as you are trying, even if you fail, you're one step closer to having a success. So just keep going. I didn't mean for this to turn into a motivational speech, but maybe that's what you needed today, and I'm happy to provide that for you. But if you would like to have this coloring sheet among some other awesome things delivered to your door in April, then the link to sign up for the April Fail Mail is below. Trying to think if I have any other little final thoughts or notes to say about creating this coloring sheet. I really enjoyed the process. I thought this was really fun and actually took way less time than I had anticipated. I think it took me maybe half an hour altogether, and I definitely credit the grids and the quick line feature in Procreate, where you can draw a line and then hold down on your pencil and it'll create a really straight line. I couldn't have done it without that, let me tell you. But I think I'm going to be doing this again for sure, even if it's just for myself. We're nearing the very end of the creation process. I just want to go ahead and say the last final steps I took are tracing over everything, then deleting the layer underneath with the pencil sketch, deleting the grid layer also, and then saving this as a JPEG and a PDF, because sometimes I have better luck with one rather than the other. Then what I did was emailed the files to my computer from my iPad, took them into Illustrator, did a quick image trace on them, took care of any little imperfections, and then sent those off to Kristen so that she could print them out for this Fail Mail run. So this is going so fast, sometimes it's pretty hard for me to explain, but I just wanted to get that in there just in case you all are wanting to create any coloring sheets for yourself. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will talk to you all next week. Bye!